So it says the library has 12,500 fiction books and 19,000 nonfiction books. Currently, 2/5 of the fiction books are checked out. Currently, 2/5 of the nonfiction books are checked out. Out of the books checked out, 1/10 are due back this week. How many books are due this week? All right, so we first got to figure out 2/5 of each. Okay, and what we can do is multiply those by 2/5. So I do 12,500 times 2/5. And that would be 5,000. So we have 5,000 fiction books that are checked out. All right, and then nonfiction, we would do 19,000 times 2/5. And that would be 7,600. All right, so this is how many books are checked out total. Okay, so I can add those up. That would be 12,600. All right, and then it says out of the books checked out, 1/10 are due back. All right, so basically to figure out that, we got to take this, times it by 1/10. All right, so 12,600 times 1/10, which is just, I probably would just change it to a decimal. That's 0.1. All right, and that's 1,260. So again, this one is just to fill in. All right, no decimals or anything, so you just put in 1260 into the answer box. All right, let me erase that one. All right, so just remember with, typically when they're giving you all these fractions, it's usually multiplication. All right, when they take these fractions and the big numbers, you're going to multiply them to get those numbers. All right, for number 12, dealing with money, so it said Kevin is paid $8.80 per hour. He worked 7 hours. He gave his mother 1/4 of his earnings. How much did Kevin have left? Really, there's a couple ways you can do this. I guess I'm going to do what I would call the shortcut method for this. All right, so the first thing I want to do is multiply and see how much he made altogether. So he worked 7 hours and he gets paid $8.80. So I just want to multiply those. That means he made $61.60. All right, now there's two ways you can do this. You can multiply this by 1/4 and then subtract. Okay, but what I'm going to do, since he gave his mom 1/4 and we want to know how much he has left, we can just multiply this by 3/4 because that's how much he has, because he's giving away 1/4. Okay. So if I'm going to take 6160 times 3/4, again, you can change it to a decimal. I did 0.75 on my calculator, so that's 46.2. All right, again, you enter in, remember the decimal has one space here. Okay. For 13, it says, and this is really important that you kind of know how to name these angles, all right? Because again, this one's not all that hard if you really think about it, but sometimes people miss this because they're not sure what angle they're trying to find. So it says square RSTU is inside trapezoid RSVU. What's the measure in degrees of VSR? So VSR is this. So it's this angle right here. Okay, remember that the S is in the middle. Okay, it's saying that line V and line R meet at S. Okay, so it's this angle right here. Okay, which that is an obtuse angle. So we know it's going to be over 90. All right, well, if you think about it, all of these are squares. So even though they don't put it, that is a square, or that is a 90-degree angle, because that's a square. So if this is 45, that means this other one's 45 here. All right, so this angle right here is 45, and then all the angles are 90 degrees on a square. So I know this and this I want to add together. So basically it's 90 plus 45, and that should be 135. Okay. All right, next one. Let's do two more. All right. It says Janet made 4/5 of a necklace in 20 minutes. At this rate, how many necklaces to the nearest tenth can Janet make in 1 hour? All right. A lot of times I set up a proportion for this. So she can make 4/5 in 20 minutes. Okay, we want to know how many in, and this is where you got to be careful because this is in hours and this is in minutes. So we want to convert hours to minutes. So there's 60 minutes in an hour. All right. And then I would cross multiply. So that gives me 20x equals, and then I want to multiply 4/5 times 60. Okay, that's 48. And then I want to get x by itself, so I want to divide by 20. All right, and that would give me 2.4. All right, so it would be 2.4. All right, the other way you can do it, if you think about it, 20 times 3 is 60. So I can also just take 4/5 and times it by 3. All right, you would get an improper fraction if you did that. Okay, it would be 12/5, and that's how you would write it in the box here. All right, and then the last one, number 15, said Kyle bought X pencils. He paid $1.24, including tax per pencil. He gave the cashier $20 and then received $5.12 in change. How many pencils did Kyle purchase? So this one you can set up an equation for. So we know that each pencil is $1.24. Probably should write it over here. So $1.24p. All right. And then it cost $20, so that's equal to $20. And then he got back this $5.12. So $5.12 is what he got back. So basically I can do the 1.24p plus 512 equals $20. All right, because this is extra that was left over, so I can consider that a positive. All right, so to solve for this, I would subtract 512 from 20, and that would give you 1488, and then equals 1.24p, and then I can divide by 1.24 because I want p all by itself. I want to see how many pencils I have, so that would be 12. All right, so for the first one, we have complementary angles. Remember, complementary is 90. So I want to add everything up and set it equal to 90. So for my x's, I have 6x. And then I don't have any other numbers but the 6. So I do plus 6. All right, remember, when we're solving for x, I want to always do the opposite to get rid of it. So it's plus 6. I want to do the opposite of minus 6 because that makes 0. 90 minus 6 is 84. And I bring down my 6x, and then to get rid of the 6, I want to divide by 6. So x should be 14. Okay. All right, for the next one, number 17, it says a car used 1/64 gallons of gas in 1/4 of a mile. At this rate, how many miles can the car drive using 1 gallon? So I like to set up a proportion for this because we're comparing gallons in miles. So it says that 1/64 of a gallon is used on 1/4 of a mile. And then again, we want to know how many miles for 1 gallon. So the how many is always my x. All right, so I put my x down there with miles. And I cross multiply 1/64 times x is 1/64 x. And then 1/4 times 1 is 1/4. All right, and then I want to divide by this 1/64, which remember we need to do keep, change, flip. So I keep the 1/4, change it to multiplication. I got to flip it to, I don't know why I get 3 here. 64 over 1. And I can just multiply it across. 1 times 64 is 64. 4 times 1 is 4. And then 64 divided by 4 is just 16. So my answer for 17 would be 16. Oh, thank you. All right, 18. So it says Craig earns the same amount of money each month. His phone bill is 1/20th of his earnings, and he pays a total of $720 each year for his phone service. How much does he earn each month in dollars? So I first want to figure out, this is how much he makes a year. I want to know how much per month. All right, so I would do 720 divided by 12. Okay, and that's $60. All right, now that's 1/20th of what he makes, so I can just times this by 20, and that tells me how much he makes. All right, so if I just take 60 times 20, that's $1,200. So he makes $1,200 each month. All right, let me erase that. All right, I got 2 more. So for 19, again, we are comparing 2 things. So we're comparing 1/4 cup of oil for every 2/3 cup of water. How much oil in cups is needed per cup of water? So I would do a proportion for this. So I'm comparing oil and water. All right, in the problem, it states that 1/4 cup of oil is same as 2/3. We want to know how much oil, again, how much, that's my x, for 1 cup of water. So I can cross multiply. 2/3 times x is 2/3 x. 1/4 times 1 is just 1/4. And then I divide by 2/3. Remember, when I divide, I got to do keep, change, flip. So I flip it to 3 over 2 instead of 2 over 3. And then I just multiply across. 1 times 3 is 3. 4 times 2 is 8. All right, so I put the 3 here. Okay, I want to use this for my fraction bar. And then 8. All right, so again, lots of dividing by fractions. So again, it's important. This is all non-calculator too, so it's important that you know how to do that without calculator. All right, and then the last one I want to go over is this one is a supplementary. So 16 was complementary. These ones are supplementary because they're on a straight line. So they add up to 180. So I got x and 2/3 x, which makes 1 and 2/3 x. All right, now I want to get those into an improper fraction so I can divide it. So 3 times 1 is 3, plus 2 is 5. So this is really 5/3 x. And again, this is equal to 180. All right, and then I want to get rid of the 5/3 by dividing. Oh, I ran out of room. Let me do it over here. So then remember, I got to change it to multiplication and flip the 5/3 to 3/5. All right, I can make this a 1, multiply across. So 180 times 3 is 540. And then 1 times 5 is 5. So I want to do 540 divided by 5, and that give me 108. Okay, it does say what's the value of x here. So it'd just be 108.